What's up, everybody, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Morning Cuppa Hockey presented by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And we are also presented by Parasso, the most complete choice for shaving and beard care, made in Italy since 1948. Parasso has been a staple of Italian culture and barbershops globally for 4 generations, so get 15% off at Parasso-USA.com with our promo code Hockey15 in all caps, Hockey15. As you can see, my favorite guy in the world, the happiest joy of my life, Colby Cohen, is back. We got David Pagnotta joining the show in about 3 to 5 minutes. We got Billy Jaffe a little bit later to talk Bruins. So we'll be getting into a lot of different conversations. Zach Phillips in the chat saying, looking forward to Les's announcement. If you haven't caught on by now, there is no announcement, but we'll pretend there is one every day. But it's good to see you, Colby. I'm happy you're back. I think the chat missed you. I think our listeners missed you. I will just hand it over to you to say. What's your big announcement?
I don't know what happened while I was gone, Johnny, but I know that it went from take as much time as you need, and then whatever happened on Monday, I was getting messages from the bosses being like,
we were just 10 minutes late.
Take as much time as you need, but please don't make it too long, because apparently when you're sitting and calling the shots, it can be a dumpster fire real quick. So,
as most people would expect.
Listen, I hate being away from the show, everyone, and I've sort of shared some stuff with you guys, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but just dealing with some family stuff. Everybody's okay. I told you guys about my dad. Had a couple of sticky moments, and I we thought the worst, but luckily, things are trending in an okay direction again. So, you guys just might have to bear with me a little bit here over the next couple of weeks. But I certainly do miss doing the show. I have to also be honest, I didn't catch the show either day. We were just so tied up and, dealing with stuff obviously much bigger than this. But so if there are things that are a little redundant today, and like the first thing I said to Jonny was, I'm sure you already talked about Chris Drury and the letter, but I haven't had a chance to talk to Jonny about it. Honestly, this is probably the longest Jonny have gone without talking in 5 years.
Yeah, I've respected your space.
Yes. So I you guys have the group chat has been really, really quiet, which I appreciate. So I know we're about to have David Pagnotta on here in a minute, Jonny, but I did just want to ask you, because we really have not talked about this. So again, bear with us for a moment. When I read that letter from Chris Drury on social media, whenever that it was, I honestly was like, I was searching Google bar, because I just assumed this was something AI. I had to go to the Twitter account, then I had to look at the few tweets before to see maybe they got hacked. I honestly thought that letter was satire and someone was messing around, Jonny. And it's really kind of sad and pathetic to read that. And I just don't understand why they did that. I really don't. I guess it gives them license to do some crazy shit without people freaking out, because you can sort of now say, well, we warned you. That's the only thing that I could come up with, Jonny, in my mind. But I was like, what am I reading here?
And it's not even like they warned you. They've already done things. They've traded guys away. It's too, my initial thought was it's too late and it's unnecessary. And I said this on our Tri-State show yesterday, but Devils fans wanted Tom Fitzgerald to face the media and answer questions. He did that. He didn't say much. Ranger fans, I feel wanted Chris Drury to come out and say something. And while Chris Drury did say in that letter, things are going to change, he didn't really answer any questions from media. He just kind of took the easy way out and put out a letter like they did in 2018. But in 2018, they at least did it, in the sense of, hey, this is going to be a totally different team. We are rebuilding. This time the letter is we already gave you a different team and now we're going to retool it again. They've already done it. So I'm sorry that I know we haven't talked about it. I'm so sick of talking about it. It's just
we don't need to listen. It's not even a long conversation. It's more just head scratching as to the disaster that Chris Drury has built, because this is squarely on his shoulders and his hockey operations staff, his assistants, his scouting department, like just any and everything. There's a lot of blame to go around, but the buck stops with him. He's the president and the general manager. I mean, this is on him and squarely on him. So we don't need to, like, I'm not looking to rub your nose in it and take victory lap. I
a little bit. A part of you is.
No, I'm really not, because the dumpster fire that is the New York Rangers, in my opinion, is not good for hockey. It's just not. And you're seeing this sort of trend right now where, and I've said, well, players want to play in New York no matter what. And I'm almost starting to like walk it back a little, feeling that way. And there's always going to be people that want to live in New York and do the whole New York experience. But, Rasmus Andersson wouldn't sign an agreement, a long-term agreement with Boston, right? Yeah. The New York Rangers have become a dumpster fire of a place where guys are leaving, like Trouba and Kreider. They're loving life in the warm climate somewhere else, even in a high tax climate like California, right? We're seeing a major shift here, in my opinion, in what players want and what players value. And we always just talk about the tax situation, but we're really just starting to see this new age kind of situation where players want to be in warm climates, and that is really, really important to them. And they want to be out of the biggest and brightest spotlight, a lot of them, with some of the destinations that these guys are choosing. And they're talking about Rasmus Andersson, as I'm kind of wandering around here. They're saying like he'll sign an extension in Vegas. That was his number one destination, right? Like that's where guys want to go. So I'm kind of starting to walk back my thoughts here on like, well, everybody will still always want to play for the New York Rangers. Like, I don't know if that's true anymore. I really don't. I don't. I still felt like that's 4 months ago, Johnny, but I don't know. Like, do we still live in that world? I don't know.
Well, let's bring in David Pagnotta and actually ask him that question, because maybe he has a better sense of what players' agents want for the players, right? So before we bring on David, just a quick word from our sponsor, JP Weisers. No matter where your team sits this season, watching the game with your crew makes everything better. The wins feel bigger and the rivalries hit harder. As the official whiskey of the NHL, JP Weisers is all about those moments that matter from October through June, the rituals, the midweek matchups, and the regional rivalries that bring friends together, because when you get the crew together for game night, that's a W. This season, fans can look forward to limited edition products and plenty more from JP Weisers. To stay up to date, Weisers.com. Subscribe to the JP Weisers newsletter, and for the latest unlimited edition drops, products, and more, you must be legal drinking age. Enjoy responsibly. Let's bring on our friend, recurring guest, live from Los Angeles, waking up at 5:30 a.m. local time. Great to see you last night in the arena, David, and good to see you again this morning. You must be exhausted. You look pretty damn. So how you doing?
I'm hanging in. I'm hanging in as best I can here, boys. Nice and early, but only for you.
And
Colby,
we appreciate that, as we do harass all of our friends out on the West Coast to come on early with us as often as we can. But DP, I don't know how much you caught of that conversation. I just am feeling such a shift, and we've been seeing it now for years with a lot of the last couple of years with free agents. Now we're starting to see it with guys who are getting traded, and then they're being outspoken about how much more they're enjoying their situation. I remember when my best bud, got bought out by the Rangers and then ended up playing in Tampa on like a complete low money, prove it type of deal, and said it was the best year he ever had before then signing in Anaheim, and really enjoying his time out there in Newport, California. So, do you feel like I'm off base with that and thinking that like the tides really, really have shifted?
A lot of guys, at least that I've interacted with respect to this type of conversation and this topic, it comes down to winning at the end of it. Like if there's an opportunity to win, they'll put up with, media bullshit and, all the hype surrounding, that element, or, markets that, have certain challenges that come with them. Big markets that you'd love to win in, but if things aren't going well, then it's a bit of a different ballgame. Like I remember asking guys, would you consider, when Toronto was going through their rebuild a number of years ago, would you consider being part of this? And a lot of guys were like, not really. Like, not until this team gets to a certain level, gets to a certain point where, you can tolerate with being in Leafland, for example. They take the hump, they get over the hump, I should say, get over the hurdle. Then I'll be part of it. Same thing goes for Montreal, Chicago, and we're starting to see that with New York as well. It's obviously a destination, but if you have to put up with all the, the retool, rebuild stuff and everything else that comes with it, for a lot of guys, it's not worth it anymore. So to see them go to different markets and experience what your buddy experienced, a lot of guys are more for that, or going in different directions than having to go through, an environment where you're going to have a lot of scrutiny put on you. There's going to be, the spotlight's going to be a different type of spotlight because of just, losing takes a toll on a lot of people, even through a rebuild. So that has definitely shifted in the last while, in the last several years, I should say, with respect to the mentality of joining one of those, or either original six, top tier big markets. If you're not winning, it weighs a lot on guys.
David, before I ask my next question, I'm just happy your Wi-Fi fixed itself. I'm not sure. What were you seeing just now when you were talking to us?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I saw it was moving around a little bit before, and I was hoping to power through that. I'm at Dennis Bernstein's place right now. Yeah. I'm gonna give him shit for it.
Great job powering through there. Your face was frozen there for like a solid 30 seconds. We were kind of like,
amazing.
Oh shit. But going back to going back to what you were saying, doesn't it speak volumes that, and I think you might have been even the one to report this, but when the letter for the Rangers, and this always ends up happening. We don't mean to talk about the Rangers, but we're just doing it anyway. When the letter came out, Mika Zibanejad, Adam Fox, Igor Shesterkin, JT Miller, all these guys, I think Vinny Trocheck said they're willing and want to stay through this, which again, to Colby's point, what the fuck is the point of the letter if all the guys want to stay? like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? But wouldn't that speak volumes about New York, even if things are this bad, these guys still want to stay?
Yeah, because for a lot of guys, it is a destination. So some guys will put up with a lot of that crap. But at the same time, I mean, I don't blame them for saying that, because do you want to turn around and be the guy that's like, yeah, get me out of here under the circumstances?
We've seen it before. I mean, like, look what just happened in Vancouver.
Well, I mean for New York. Do you want to be that guy in that market? Like, yes, there are other markets where it makes it a little easier, especially when you're going through the crap for a while. Like Vancouver, it's been a rough 2-3 years for that group. For the Rangers, it really hasn't. So, and there's no guarantee that these guys are going to get, like, most of these guys are going to get moved anyway, outside of what seems to be Panarin and Soucy. So, Trocheck has some no trade protection, but do you want to be the guy that's like, yeah, you know what, it's time, I'm happy to do it, and then it may not happen till summer, and then you got to put up with a lot of crap from the fan base between now and June or July. So I get that a lot of guys, like, again, it's a destination. A lot of guys want to be there. A lot of guys love being in New York. Like Panarin loves being in New York, but for him, this is the direction that he and the team are going in. For some of the other guys, I'm not surprised that they would, relay that publicly. But a lot of guys behind the scenes, and they're going to say the right thing publicly, but a lot of guys behind the scenes in these types of environments are like, oh, man, this is, it's, as I said, it weighs a lot on guys.
Yeah, the whole thing is definitely a situation that, as I was telling Jonny, when I first saw that, I was like, I honestly was like doing my homework and checking in to see like if this was a spoof or who got me, like one of those fake Twitter accounts or whatever, like the fake Adam Schefter Twitter account, or I don't know. Is there a fake the fourth period?
There should be.
Does somebody have you on one of those, Dave?
I've had a few of those before. The fake accounts. People get bored, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, seriously.
I think those are a good thing. They're fun.
I will say though, like I've talked to a bunch of players around the league since, what was it, Friday? I think Friday was when the letter came out.
Yeah.
where they've asked, they're like, what's the point of doing that? Can't you just start going through the retool? And why does your team have to put such a spotlight on the rest of the club? Couldn't they just start doing their work? Like, obviously they're going to start moving guys if they're this bad. Why do you have to make it so blatantly obvious? Why do you have to explain things? I get the fans want to know, but they're smart enough. Can't they put it together? And that's, for some players, they were a little bit surprised by that overall when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would think they could get a pretty big return for Vinny Trocheck. I mean, I think that's a guy that you would get the most seismic probably return for. You look at his contract, there's some control in it. There's cost certainty for what he does with where the cap's going. I mean, I would think that would be something that teams would be chomping at the bit for. I mean, and everybody needs a center. I mean, look at Minnesota. Yep. I imagine Minnesota getting their hands on a guy like Vinny Trocheck. I mean, that would be a sight to see. I want to go west with you a little bit because it does seem like the one team that is obviously openly selling is Calgary, having just moved on from Rasmus Andersson over the last couple of days. And I think all the eyes turned to Nazem Kadri, who, again, I don't know if it was your report. I might have read that it was actually your report. They're having conversations. Kadri wants to do right by the team, which I thought was interesting, just the way this whole thing was framed. But I'm just curious from your perspective, who do you think would be the best fit, and what's like the latest noise surrounding that situation?
Yeah. Well, I think yesterday Darren Dreger added some more meat to this, that there's been some, he called it tire kicking from, teams like Toronto and Montreal, here in LA, the Kings being another, Colorado, Dallas. There are going to be other teams that would like to get their hands on a guy like Nazem Kadri. He's got 3 more years on his contract, $7 million cap hit. He's got, I think it's a 13-team no-trade list or something along those lines right now. A lot of teams that have interest in him have told Calgary, and I've mentioned this before earlier on in the season, and it hasn't changed. They've told the Flames, look, if you're willing, or when you're willing to do this, or at least have these exploratory conversations, we want to know if you're going to retain on that deal. We want to know, like, we'd love to get Nazem Kadri, but we'd really love to get him at, say, $6 million, $5 million. Are you willing to eat a little bit on that? And I think the message back was, we'll consider it. We're open to that, but you're going to have to obviously compensate for that to happen. It's a combination of what Nas is prepared to do, and if there is retention, that's when the owner is going to have to step in to kind of sign off on this scenario. I think the Flames are willing to listen to see if they can get the biggest return, or whatever they view the biggest return as for a guy like Kadri. He wants another cup. He wants a chance, to chase. It's not going to happen this year in Calgary. It's probably not going to happen for honestly, the duration of his contract with the Flames. It doesn't mean that he's running out the door and is open to doing this, demanding to doing this now. I think there's an openness from his side, and I think there's now becoming a more of an openness from Calgary's side to have those conversations. It's going to come down to a matter of dollars more so than anything, in terms of, retaining and then finding the right package that makes that work for Calgary in order for them to make something happen now. And the thing is, and it's obvious, that they don't have to do it now because he's got term, because he's controllable. They can wait till the summer if they want to. Like, teams kicked the tires on him last summer, around draft, around July 1. And because the market is so thin and the pool is so shallow right now going into July 1, and guys might re-up and take more guys off the market, trades are going to become a little bit more the norm, I guess, to a certain extent. So Calgary right now is listening. They're going to continue to listen. And whether it's some of those teams that I mentioned or somebody else that swoops in, like Minnesota too. Minnesota, is looking for a center. They'd like to figure something out. So hopefully, we see some action on that front a little bit more than we've seen right now. But having Andersson move and then having Kiefer Sherwood move on Monday, it's starting to kind of open the gates a little bit more here.
And I'll stay out west too and ask you about a guy that people are asking about, and that's Jason Robertson of the Dallas Stars. I can't imagine any world where Jason Robertson has moved this year with him being third in the league in goals. Obviously, we can all talk about how he still didn't make Team USA and had a great performance last night in that game against Boston, but there's no way Robertson's wearing a different jersey.
No, I'd be beyond shocked if it happens this season. I mean, look, there's a lot of money that's tied up with the Dallas Stars. And he just switched over to a different representation. His agent's now Andy Scott over at Octagon. I mean, Andy's got Thomas Harley, he's got Wyatt Johnston, he's got Mikko Rantanen. There's a lot of familiarity with the Stars and a lot of star power that he represents in Dallas. And now you add Jason Robertson to the mix. I don't see a scenario. I'm with you. I don't see a scenario where it happens now. Because if Dallas is poised on chasing a Stanley Cup, and they're going to add ahead of the deadline, it's not if, they will. And for them, perfect world is you bring in somebody in your top six and you bring in a top four defenseman on that right side. And they'll utilize that. Like they can utilize Tyler Seguin's cap space even more, and they've got some wiggle room to do all this. So if you're chasing a Stanley Cup now, your best opportunity is to do it with one of the best guys in the league, being Jason Robertson. This conversation is going to be something that's going to pick up significantly, I would imagine, if he's still unsigned around the draft and going into July. Now, he is arbitration eligible, so we'll see kind of how that impacts those types of discussions later on. But, Josh Yeo reported that Pittsburgh would love to get this guy. I think there's a lot of teams that obviously would love to put their hat in the ring and try to make this happen if it gets to that point. Dallas wants to keep him. They just have to figure out how to make this obviously work. So, I'm with you. I don't see a scenario where this happens now or ahead of the trade deadline, but it's certainly something to keep tabs on. The price is going up on Jason Robertson, and it's probably going to be at or higher than what Rantanen is at based on his performance this year.
Wow, really?
And they've got to figure. Yeah, this is another 11. What's he at? He's at 11, I believe.
Rantanen, I think is he not 12? I thought he was 12. I thought it was.
Or is he 12? Okay, yeah. So
I'll double check.
You're looking at 11 plus, for Jason Robertson, and maybe
he's 12.
12 and up. Yeah, I mean, like the way that he's producing this season, and Rantanen's having a fantastic year too, but the way that Robertson's producing, I was told, was you're looking at Rantanen money, and that's a lot of cake for another.
That's crazy.
Another guy. So that's what Dallas has to. That's what they've got to weigh. And if it's not going to happen there, then you've got to look at your options. But you don't have to do it now because you obviously want this guy to help you chase a cup.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Robertson is the next guy in for the U.S. Olympic team, DP? Or is it? Did you see that tweet from the Montreal Canadiens last night?
That was so good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was such a great. I mean, first off, that goal, watching Caulfield just shift his feet around about like a 10, 12 square foot space to find that perfect little pocket. And then Hudson drags the puck just enough to the left to pull coverage. And then I think he laid it into, was it Slavkovsky who he laid it into there, who made the bumper play over to Caulfield? I forget who Hudson gave the puck to, but he just fucking wired that thing. Like, I was just like, holy shit. Who do you think between those two guys would be? Oh, great job here, Vic. This is we're showing the video of the game-winning goal, and again, you watch how Hudson drags it a little bit, and then is it Doc who made the pass to him?
No, Suzuki.
Suzuki made the pass to him.
Yeah.
Between those two who are just lighting it up with goals, like, do you get any inclination who might be that next guy onto the U.S. Olympic team if there is a problem?
I mean, I got to imagine, I got to think that Jason Robertson is next guy up. Like, just
got it.
His consistency, the level of his output offensively, and just the way that he's been playing overall consistently. I've got to imagine he's next up there. Like Caulfield has a specific skill set.
Yeah, very
it's not. Yeah, not to the degree of Robertson's overall game, but I mean, I've got to think Robertson would be next.
Yeah, I mean, you could steel man an argument against Cole Caulfield. I don't know how you could steel man an argument or straw man an argument against Robertson. To me, it is far and above the biggest miss by Bill Guerin of all the things that and choices that he made. I can understand almost all of them except for that one. So, we were talking about him. So I was just kind of curious if you had heard any rumblings about that. I know it's a little off the page question there, Johnny, but I was kind of curious as I just continue to see this guy play at such a high level of hockey for one of the best teams in the National Hockey League.
Yeah. I actually have one that I'm curious about too, DP, just because we have Billy Jaffe coming on here in about 5 minutes to talk Bruins. And the Bruins, obviously, as reported, were, I think, in till the end on Rasmus Andersson. I think a lot of people report, I think that the deal was basically in place for the extension, right?
Our boy Grinnell, I was like, oh, he would know. He's usually, when he goes out on a limb like that, he's usually got some good Boston info.
But to continue that though, there's been, so many reports on Dougie Hamilton, right? And, now the Devils have won 4 out of 5. Luke Hughes is hurt. Still, I don't think we've seen a timeline on that yet. But could you see a potential reunion with Boston and Dougie Hamilton? Would they want to go after that big right-handed shot defenseman? Is that not even in the question?
Not at $9 million. I think but
if they wanted the 8x8 with Anderson, I don't know.
But DP, don't you remember when Dougie wanted out of Boston? And maybe he's older and more mature now, but he didn't want to play in that market. He didn't want the scrutiny. He didn't want that, what comes with playing in Boston. And again, he was a young kid. Don Sweeney was at the helm still. I don't think Peter Chiarelli was still running that team. I think Donnie Sweeney had already taken the team over with the whole Dougie Hamilton thing. So that was not a good ending, if I remember correctly. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that was a bridge that got a little bit burned when that whole thing went down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, just financially, I don't see that being a fit because of, especially the way, he's having a down year, obviously. With respect to his capabilities. And I think, they wanted to throw 8x8 or around that anyway, with respect to Rasmus Andersson on an extension. I get, first of all, just on that, I kind of got the sense, talking to a few people around the league, that I don't know how genuine Andersson's, how much, if he really wanted to be there. I think this might have been a leverage play. Overall, and there are some people that kind of doubt. And I talked to one guy in Boston that was a little bit hesitant with respect to the sincerity of his desire to explore that possibility and just ultimately wanting to be in Vegas. So, tiny bit of bad taste in their mouth, a little bit, from what I've gathered. Look, do they want to bring in somebody for that right side that can slot into that top 2 position on the right? On their blue line, it's clearly evident that yes, they want to. For Dougie Hamilton, I don't know. The ending of that relationship wasn't great, and I don't know if that's necessarily something that he would want to consider again, because I think there's other options. There are other options that he would prefer, but this one also comes down to money, for them. And is New Jersey willing to either retain a piece or take back a significant amount to make that kind of negligible? So that's what they've got to figure out, and that's what's taken this a good amount of time here to try to find a different solution, to this issue. And Colby, you made a good point. Now with Luke Hughes, they got to figure out what the timeline is there with respect to him. Is it a dislocated shoulder? If it is, does it require surgery? How long is that going to take? This, that, and the other. That's going to maybe put it and from a monetary perspective. New Jersey looking at primarily moving out Dougie Hamilton or Andre Palat to create cap space to fill other voids. If Luke Hughes is out for a considerable amount of time, the rest of the regular season at least, then there you've got some LTIR space. You can free up 3.8. So that they're trying to figure this all these questions out now. But at the same time, they're still going to have these talks with other teams with respect to Hamilton, with respect to Palat, with respect to trying to bring in somebody who can put the puck in the net consistently. This little stretch is nice, but they want this to keep going.
They're still not scoring.
No, and they view themselves still as a playoff team, as they should, with the amount of talent that's there on paper. It's just a matter of everybody just getting going. And maybe it's going to take this little streak to kind of snap everybody out of it.
Colby, any more guys you want to ask about?
Well, just ask Ariel's question in the chat. You know, she asked a pointed question. Ariel is an Islanders fan, DP, and she's asking if you've heard anything about Darsh looking to make a move for that team and what you kind of would expect to see the Islanders do here over the next couple of weeks or months.
I think they're kind of hovering. You know, from what I've gathered, they're just going to keep an eye on things. I don't think they're like every other team, and every GM will give you the same response. If there's a deal to make us better, we'll do it. Great, but I don't think that this team is going to rush into any type of move. I don't see them being big players with respect to the rental market. First of all, again, if something falls into their lap, they'll go in that direction. I think the way that Darsh has put this team together and the way that he's kind of forecasted the direction of this club, they're more long-term thinking. I don't think they want to go in and make any knee-jerk type of reactions because they're having a good season right now. They're going to spend part of the Olympic break trying to see whether a guy like Pajot or Anders Lee has some runway towards an extension. Can they keep him? Do they, what are the numbers? And then they'll figure all that out, at least internally with respect to housekeeping. But regarding adding to this club, I think it's more long-term thinking. And if there's somebody that they can bring in that fits what their mold is and what the structure and system that Patrick Roy has instilled with this group, that is more of a long-term play, not just this season, but controllable, has term, then I think that's the direction that they go in. But it's other than that, this is more situational type of adding for the New York Islanders right now. And based on how they're performing and how some of the guys are doing, it's probably the right decision for this club right now.
Imagine if they could go out and get Matthew Schaefer, like a long-term partner. And that's no disrespect to Ryan Pulock, you know what I mean? Or Adam Pelech, or really any of those guys. But Scott Mayfield's another, he's another guy who can play that side. But imagine if they could, listen, they know they have a number one and a guy who's going to grow into being a number one. Imagine if you went and got a number two who could play there with him for the next 8 years and give him stability. I mean, that would seemingly, and for me, that would be a priority. DP, before we let you go, you got the rundown coming out. Is that coming out today? You and Earth, is that, so you guys are filming that today, or that's coming out
Bill Armstrong, right?
Yeah. We're filming that later on today. Bill Armstrong, GM of the Utah Mammoth. He's going to be joining us, and we're going to, touch on everything going on there with the Mammoth. They got the Winter Classic, obviously, next season. But this one I'm curious about. He's probably not going to give us much because he's not, going to tip his cap at all.
I feel like he's a talker.
He is. He's a strategic talker. He's a good talker. So he'll tiptoe, certainly around things. I'm going to try to, Irf and I will try to dig a little bit on him. But this is the Utah's a team that's always kind of, right now they're lurking, and they got the money to spend, and they want to make a big splash. I'm just curious what they're going to do there. So we'll ask him about that. We're going to ask him about Nick Schmaltz, who's in a contract year, and what the plan is there. That's coming up, and then we'll touch on some of the other tidbits and some of the other news kind of around the NHL.
I would suggest listening to Ryan Smith was on with Butchie and Frank last week, and Ryan Smith had some really interesting things to say that I feel like you could grab from that interview, and you could maybe prod Bill Armstrong with a little bit, because he did say some interesting stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna try. We'll see what we can get out of him for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for joining us this morning, DP. Seriously, really appreciate it. For those of you who don't know, it is 6:35 a.m. right now with you on with us. So thanks again for waking up early, and great seeing you last night.
Yeah.
Definitely enjoy your trip, and we'll talk soon, boys.
All right.
Yep. All right, Colby, should we get right to Billy Jaffe? I know he's waiting for us. We haven't had Billy on in quite some time.
I don't feel right making Billy wait. So, yes, I feel like Billy should make me wait for things. I should never be making Billy Jaffe, the great Billy Jaffe, wait for things.
Let's just make him wait for 10 more seconds because I do want to give a quick word from our sponsor, Uber Eats. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app, from game day eats to paper plates and napkins. If you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. And with that, let's bring our friend, recurring guest, Billy. We asked you before the Bruins game last night to come on because we wanted to talk about how good they were playing. What the hell happened in Dallas last night?
First of all, I want to know, are you in the bathroom? Are you using the shower curtain behind you? Are you okay, Johnny? Are you being held hostage?
6:30 a.m. in Los Angeles right now. That's outside. I just don't want the window getting on the screen. But yeah, everyone's been asking the same question.
There you go. All right. That's good usage then of the hotel curtains or whatever that is there. What happened last night? Oh, man. Listen, they went on a road trip, Chicago, Dallas. And while you want to see him win every game, you want to see him compete in every game, if after what they've been going through, like any other team, crazy schedule, etc. But if they get a split on this trip, you're like, okay, now that's sounding like, I'm not trying to be like, what is it, sour grapes, or, make it up.
Not you, Billy.
Not me. If they got 2 points out of 4, which they did, they came back against Chicago, a resounding effort against the Blackhawks. I know they're a different team than the Dallas Stars. But the Stars actually played with some, to borrow a Cam Neely phrase, piss and vinegar last night. Boy, they haven't been lately. And the Bruins were ripe for the picking. And quite honestly, they didn't look good. They looked pretty cruddy after they got down that 3-4-0, right? So give the Stars credit, and the Bruins, and this is not an excuse. We tried to be, I was a little smart ass about it on Morning Brew with Andrew Raycroft. They're going to make the siblings trip from here on out a 1-game, 2-day trip. That's it. This ended up being a 5.5-day trip with their siblings there. Remarkably, I think all the siblings made it in one piece, at least through the second game, because they've been having a great time. I just think the Bruins just got tired. I really do, Johnny. I just think they looked tired, down. They traveled back from Dallas this morning, and guess what? They get right back at it tomorrow night against Vegas. That's your welcoming gift. The Vegas Golden Knights coming to the Garden.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Do you think that maybe the whole smoke around Rasmus Andersson and, guys are sitting there checking their phone, worried, am I going to be in the trade? I mean, Mason Lohrei was very, very widely reported as a piece going back the other way. Like, those situations, Billy, and I even remember this when I was in the American League for the Bruins, because they were always trying to win. Anytime there were rumor reports going back to Jerome McGinley, and we were all sitting on the bus looking at our cell phones after a game in Bridgeport, worried that we were the one that would be part of the trade going back the other way. Do you think maybe that could have kind of run its course through the locker room for 24, 48 hours, almost like a little flu bug, maybe just affecting some guys in some different ways?
It's an interesting question. I don't think so. By the way, the days that you were looking at your cell phone, wasn't those the days where you got charged by the minute or charged by the text too? That was probably pretty expensive.
Billy, that makes you 150 years old if you're gonna say that.
You know what? I am. If you watch me skate this morning, it was shot in super slow motion, the actual skate. I am 150 years old. It feels that way, partner.
Where'd you skate this morning?
At the Edge. I do
nice.
a Wednesday morning group when I'm in town, able to do it 7 to 8 a.m. It's awesome. You go out there.
I did it with you years ago.
Yeah. You go out there. Guys are still great. We're all older. You go out there. It's funny. You work your butt off. You have a great time. You're awful halfway through it. You realize how bad you are. And then you go out and you get a coffee and something bad to eat. It's like calorie. It's not deficit you just balance it out. It's awesome. It's a great way to start the day. And then to get to talk with you guys. Colby, back to your question. You know what, but I don't know. If the reports are accurate, it was first round pick, whether it was 26 or 27, that can't be confirmed, but the rumors were that it was leaning towards 27. It was at least one player off the roster, rumor being Mason Lohrei. Now, obviously, that was going around on Saturday, and that didn't seem to impact him there. In fact, he looked somewhat energized. I think more it was just the on the road for a longer time. Yeah. I think they're having a good time. And I just think they had one of those moments of, okay, because by the way, the first 13 minutes last night, Colby, were pretty good by both teams. And then the Bruins, I just think mentally they just lost it, and they took some crappy penalties. 2 of the 3, one was a bad call. The other 2 were not good penalties. And then the Stars are like, all right, we've been awful offensively the last 12. I think it's been 10 or 12 games. Like, we're going to get our butts into gear. And they did. And I think that more than anything, Cole, was it. With regard to the trade stuff, you know, I think that I think the Bruins players, they've got a lot of veteran players. And I was talking to Razor about this. I know you have Razor on a lot too. Razor was talking about how maybe it impacts the older guys more with families, et cetera. But I guess they're just, because there wasn't a report of an older guy going away. I don't know, Cole, if it impacted them.
That's a fair point, because those are usually more seismic than when a young guy who, and no disrespect, is usually in the running for the gold jacket is rumored to be the guy, you know, going back the other way. So, and it's funny, as you're talking, Billy, like, we don't really talk about the Bruins a lot on this show. We really don't.
Not without like Billy or Razor.
Yeah. It's when, and not
or even G.
Like, if you guys aren't listening to Morning Brew, which is Billy and Andrew Raycroft, 2 people you are all obviously very familiar with. It is a good show to catch on with, because those guys are, you know, with the Bruins, covering the Bruins all the time. So I'll give you a little plug on that, Billy.
Thank you.
When I get out of the loop on the Bruins, that's usually what I'm doing. I'm making sure I get caught up through Morning Brew. Part of the inspiration for the name of our show. It is. So we owe you for that as well.
We might have ripped you off a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I'm fine with it. Do we have a Morning Cuppa Hockey mug?
Not yet. We're working on it. I have a Morning Brew mug. I know
you do. You've got the Morning Brew mug. Although those are limited edition. Those are out. Hold on, I got one other for you. I feel like I'm on QVC right now. And then we got the morning. These are the travels, the travelers. These are outstanding. So we got to get you a Morning Cuppa, the travelers. Go get yourself a canteen.
All right. Well, and I got Cooper. Yes. I got Cooper on my hat this morning for you. So
Cooper was literally just here for you. Cooper was just here for you, and then he left because I'm probably yelling too much.
I will tell, our audience loves golden retrievers, Billy. We have a very golden retriever focused audience, because Oliver is also next to me right now. And they really only come to the show each morning because they want an Oliver appearance.
Wait, Colby, I'm laughing at our chat. I'm laughing at our chat, Billy. Joe Albany's wrote, "Where the fuck is the merch, Vic?" As if our producer Vic is in charge of the merch.
Well, where is the merch? I mean, for crying out loud, you guys are big time. We're just some local show, and we've got, and we got hats. And I like the hat though, Colby. Is that a personal? There's all. Is that a one-off hat?
It is not a one-off hat. This was a collaboration between Team Foster and, come on, buddy. You want to come say hi? A collaboration between the Flyers, Warriors, and Team Foster, and it was like a money-raising event. And they did these hats, which was really cool. Cam Atkinson really involved in that as well. There he is. There's Cooper. Yeah. It's one of my favorite Goldens out there. I love it. I remember when you got him. I remember when he was a puppy. And you've taken me through the journey with you with your Golden. So that's why I love Billy so much. He's a golden retriever guy.
Oh, they're the absolute best. I love the hat. So anyways, listen, it's a love fest right now. Literally, I've got a Golden's nose right in my hip. He's telling me, I don't know, you gotta go to the bathroom? You just want to get pet. I can't tell. But anyways, all good. Back to the Bruins. Oh yeah,
let me reel it back in for 1 second here. Because I was having a conversation actually with Mike Grinnell the other day, and we were talking about like Vinny Trocheck, and he was mentioning if like Trocheck could I guess the possibility of Trocheck being of interest to the Boston Bruins. And, obviously they have, 4 centers that I think they like. I don't know if those 4 centers maybe are the strongest down the middle in the NHL. But is that even like a player that would be of interest for the Bruins right now? And do you think they're,
well, you're going to have to move, Johnny, you're going to have to move one. You're going to,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be Fraser Minton. Okay. That's the kid is legit. Like, so last night we were talking about him on the podcast, and then all of a sudden, because you hang out and talk to him, and you don't realize that he's actually 6'2", about 203, 204 pounds. And that's not huge, but that's damn good size, right? That's solid size. And you're like, boy, he looks like not a paper boy type of thing, but he doesn't look, he's only 21. but he plays with such poise
Paperboy.
and maturity, that he's gonna stay. Like he's legit. It's fun. He's the kindest, nicest kid, and he's like almost like aw shucks. And then you realize that he's out there playing solid third line minutes, and I think he's gonna be, fellas, a legit potential number 2. All right, so he's not going anywhere. You've got the contracts of Elias Lindholm, Johnny. I think that's going to be hard to move. Now you're talking Zacha, Corrali, awesome guy. He's the senior statesman now coming back, your fourth line guy. My point is, if you can get Trocheck, are you moving a guy like, there's been rumblings of Zacha. I don't want to move Pavel Zacha, because the day you move Pavel Zacha is then the day you say, well, we need a Pavel Zacha. So are you swapping, let's say, a Trocheck for Zacha? And I'm not saying that's what the deal would be. I'm just, you know what I mean? I mean, Trocheck, I like him a lot. And he kind of Jerry Maguire's teams, right? He completes them. As on a great team, he's a third line center. On a good team, he's a second line center. Would you, Johnny? You know better than me.
But I'm also wondering, like, it was more about are the Bruins like really a Trocheck away from being a contender? Like, do they think they're a contender right now?
No, they don't, and that is why I and many people were very happy to hear that they didn't finish the Andersson deal because of no extension. Because therefore, if Don Sweeney, Donnie has gone for it in the Bruins, even with Pete Chiarelli days, we know they've gone for it. Didn't always work deals. Guys got injured, others didn't work out. But they've always gone for it because they had teams that were ready to go for it. We said, I'm going to guess you guys said too, because you know the biz.
We haven't talked
the year
about
began. It. Well, but the best, but I'm saying the best the Bruins could probably do this year, I felt, was 8th seed in the East. That I thought was the best scenario. And I still stick with that. And that is not being disrespectful. That's saying this is a team that is in realistic transition right now from a what the hell happened last year to like oh shit year, right? Remember, it was like, oh my God, what happened to this team? To, hey, they're pretty decent and they're full of great guys that are busting their humps. They've got an unbelievable work ethic, and I give Marco Sturm and then the leadership credit on this team. With all that said, no, they do not. If they felt that they were a team that could be realistically a contender, they would have gone for that trade for Andersson. My take is this: if they bring somebody back that doesn't have a term left on their contract, it is for low return. If they're bringing, otherwise they're doing a high return trade, it's a guy with term on his contract. At least I think they want preferably 2 years on that guy's deal. I think they feel they're in a potential 4 to 5 year window with the McAvoys, the Pastas, the Swaymans,
Lindholm,
Todorov.
Yeah.
In these 28 to 31-year-old range. I do think they're in that. Not yet, though. Starting next year. That's my vibe.
I think there was also something last night watching that game a little, and it's funny, I texted that to Catherine, but seeing Catherine do a Bruins game, I think there was just something like nostalgic and therapeutic about seeing her do a Bruins game last night, Billy.
Yeah, we didn't see, because the game, it wasn't exclusive. We didn't get TNT's game.
You were doing it too.
Because it was a NESN game. As you know, there's exclusive and then there's exclusive cutout. And this was one of the 2 cutouts or non-exclusives is an easier way to describe it, that the Bruins and NESN had. So I didn't see, all I saw was a little of the pregame where Tuukka, I saw made a cameo guest appearance.
Yeah. Well,
they were talking about him throwing the skate blade in Toronto.
Yes. Outstanding. Yes. Thankfully, he did not hit the ref with that.
If you ever want to see an epic meltdown, if you type in Tuukka Rask Providence Bruins, he had an epic meltdown of sticks and puck buckets, and oh man, it's one of the good ones. I'm sure Neil Sims in our chat will know the one I'm talking about. He's a New England guy for sure. That is one of the most epic meltdowns that we've seen. Billy, Johnny, do you have any more Bruins related questions? Because I wanted to ask him a prospect question before we. Billy, I did.
Dean Letourneau?
I did Providence, BC on Friday. And I know BC lost the game. They really should have won the game, believe it or not. The goaltender for Providence, Jack Parsons, was the star of that show.
I heard.
And Drew Fortescue, who is one of my favorite players to watch, had a very rare off night, Johnny, a very rare off night. But Dean Letourneau, Billy, we actually did our interview with him, I think, after the first period. Unbelievable interview, by the way. I don't know if you've had him on Morning Brew, but his maturity in a year it's like blown me away how much he's grown up in his interviews. But he was far and above the most dominating player in that hockey game. He didn't score, but dominated the whole game. I mean, every time he was on the ice, he made plays happen. He had the puck. He set guys up. You're in the area. I know you sometimes will dip your toe into the college games and do one here and there when your schedule permits. What is the feeling around the big fella now? I know last year people were casting him for dead. Has the market turned around on him as they should? Because this kid, he looks every bit like a National Hockey Leaguer right now.
Well, that I can't. I've seen him play numerous times, probably 4 or 5 times this year. For me, that's numerous. And I've got the Bean Pot coming up, so going to see him at least once, maybe twice there, and then Hockey East Championships. Yes, the market is the narrative has turned. The oh, we were wrong, I'll chuckle about it, type of thing. And everybody, I say it should be a lesson, Colby, but you know, Johnny, it's not gonna be. People are so quick to judge on this stuff. And we kept talking last year about he isn't supposed to be in college, folks. He's not supposed to be here. His problem last year was that, first of all, he was a first round pick. That was kind of unexpected, truthfully, right? He was probably more of a second round, but the Bruins went up to get him. Secondly, he's sick at the time. He was 6'7", 200 pounds. And people said, well, he's that big, he should dominate. Well, you forget that he's still just barely 18. His off-ice training in the summer was excellent. And his maturity level, and I think the real is like I don't know if he spent more days in Boston training as well, but I think he had more interaction with the college people, which think about back to your college days. It's just as a kid, as a student, how much different you were from freshman to sophomore year, right? Than you were coming in. And I know you guys played, right? I know you played hockey as well, and you understand that. But the average, the non-athlete, just think about how different you were from that first year living on your own, totally on your own, to now going in and being a second-year player in college. With all that said, he is a legit prospect. The pick looks great. Does that mean he's going to make it? Not yet. No way. I hope to the hockey gods. I pray to the hockey gods he goes back for one more year to BC.
Oh, he will.
And you know what? I hope he bet, because then if he can get, let's say, 1.5 points per game, because his first stride, Colb, is so much better. His interior play is off the charts compared to last year. And the next thing to come, I think, is going to be the natural leadership role, and that you earn in college, right? A lot of times people, they're freshmen, you're like, can that kid ever be a leader? I don't know Dean personally, but you talk about his interview being great. I haven't had him on. If he can become a leader, then that's 3 great years. And then you say, hey kid, at 21, because it'll just be 21, go to the American League for 1 year. And then all of a sudden you're going to say, you hope at 4 years, you're like, that wasn't that bad of a wait. And you get a guy who then is 6'7", probably 225 pounds when the Bruins finally get their hands on him and put all that muscle on. So he and Hagens give the Bruins this potentially exciting prospect pool, and a couple of other kids too out there.
And Zellers, Zellers was another really popped off, obviously, in World Juniors, and is playing well at North Dakota. Gasso, I think Neil Simmons mentioned in our chat. BC has like 6 Bruins prospects alone on their team.
They do.
It's insane.
And but after watching them, and again, I hope those guys are all really patient, like Hagens included, because I don't see it there. But the guy I'm most excited about, Billy, after watching that game, I mean, Aaron Manetian, I think he's a legitimate NHL defenseman. He's a pro. Yeah. But I was so impressed with Dean that night. I really was, against a heavy Providence team And I really was, but I do think you're right. He should take as much time as humanly possible. And I do think him and his agent have that mindset. The kid doesn't seem like he's in a rush. I chatted with him a little bit. And I think he's really enjoying what this experience has become and understanding where his weaknesses are. And so he just needs to, if he adds just a little more heaviness to his stick, like, I think that's the next step for him. Like, when he gets into those puck battles in the middle of the ice, he needs to win 9.9 out of 10 of those with his size.
He will. In theory, he will. If you take this year's growth, which we all think has been exponential, but now that he actually knows how to play the game at that level, he could even take a bigger jump next year. He could. And, if you realize that he could be the baddest guy, so to speak, on the ice, right? And that would be awesome. And the Bruins have a couple of other young players. I'm not going to get into the minutia of it or into the weeds on it, but they seem to have a couple of other players too that could work out for this team. They got 2 first-rounders this year, 2 first-rounders next year. I can't imagine they don't use one of them coming up to make some type of a bigger deal. Back to Johnny's question, I do think they're going to try and utilize that to get somebody with, term on it. And then they still can cultivate more of a prospect pool. So it feels, does it feel so much better here now than it did this time last year when the slide was like, oh my God, it was crazy.
I think I picked them to finish 8th because I was just saying, where are their goals coming from? No one thought Geeky would have the year that he had last year again this year. I know he slowed. He has 1 goal in his last 15 games, something like that. He scored last night, but 14.
Yeah. Needed it.
Yeah. Billy, my last question for you. We're a month out from the big game at UBS Arena. Have you done your homework yet,
yes.
The 2 of us?
Thankfully, I've got what's called Cliff Note versions on the 2 of you guys. Okay. I've got a lot of, like, the funny thing is, because I don't know anybody else, you'll probably dominate the analyst analysis. I'm going to be curious. I hope you guys start doing your hip flexor exercises to protect your hips and groins and lower backs. The game is going to come at you faster. I know you guys are still skating. Colby, are you actually skating besides coach skating? Because coach skating doesn't count. Because I can see you probably don't even tie your skates when you go on the ice. You're probably one of those coaches that does the loose skates.
I do. I like the skates nice and loose, Billy. And my plan here, I was supposed to start the beginning of January skating with my team in full gear once a week, try to ramp up. I had a little bit of an injury after having Sloan on my shoulders at the mall for like 2 hours. I couldn't move my neck left or right for about 2 weeks. So my practice, me practicing with my junior team got put on hold for a brief couple of weeks, but I'm finally starting to feel a little bit better. And so I'm now aiming at February 1 to start playing in real gear and working up to game conditioning loosely for February.
Colby's going to play 8 minutes. He's going to play 8 minutes that night. Just yap from the bench.
Yes, I am looking forward to probably having a little fun at your expense. But otherwise, it'll be an interesting day to say the least. I haven't decided my travel plans yet. That is it's the end of the Olympic break for us. Mm-hmm. We're going to get away, my wife and I, for a rare 3-day holiday in season vacation. I mean, literally, it's like a 3.5 day thing, which just doesn't happen often. And then I'll get ready. I will start my prep for the big game. And I will look probably to you guys for insight. I'll probably track you. Well, I will track you down. I'm assuming Saturday I'll see you guys, or Sunday. You can give me the scoops. Yeah. And I'll do what I normally do. Pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
Well, take it easy on my skating, Billy. Just remember, my skating wasn't good when I was being paid to play, so you can't have much expectation for me to be able to skate.
You will be a character. You will be a character player. Yes, we will.
Mic me up.
Character player.
I should be mic'd up.
What is the broadcast team? And by the way, the Jerusalem Tel Aviv game that Colby and I are actually playing now on the same team in that game. We're both playing for Tel Aviv, I believe.
I was traded. Yep.
He was traded already.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who's the broadcast team with you, Billy, for that game?
I'm embarrassed to say I'm not. There's a nice person that I don't I've reached out to.
They're working through those details currently, and we will keep you all updated. Billy, I have to tell you this before we let you go, and I'm not going to out anybody for it. You are being hit on in our chat right now. You are people are loving you right now in our chat, Billy. So I do think some of those sponsors should be calling up and booking those, photo shoots with you here in the coming days, because you are a big hit with our audience right now, Billy. And it's not what you're saying; it's actually how you look.
Is it the Frederick Roofing shirt? Is it this is the shirt that I wear once in a while for Trent Frederick, and he usually scores the next game. The kid has had a tough year, and I love the kid. So, but I thank your listeners and your viewers very much for the kind words. So,
yeah. Hey, listen, they have good taste, Billy. They have good taste.
Good to see you guys. Listen, the show's doing awesome, and keep it going. I've had a lot of history with you guys, and I say this every time with you guys. Very proud of both of you. And I know Billy. I really sound like an old man saying that, but we have now, Colby, you and I, 20 plus years.
Yeah. Yep.
So, Jonny, 10 plus, and Jonny, you've talked to people that I know that are looking to get in the business too. So, and I know you guys never take it for granted, and I'm not saying others do, but the fact that, hey, every day I go on the air, I'm worried that because I didn't skate one game in the NHL, that I'm not going to be worthy to talk about it. I still feel that way, but
I'm right there
on the
with
other
you.
hand, work hard every day, and some days you're going to be real good, and other days you're going to suck. It's like playing. Get back out there and do it again. Is the way it is. So great for you guys. Keep having fun. We'll talk, and let's talk before the game. If we don't do it on air, we'll off air to. I think I'm going to come in the Saturday before. Okay.
All right. Good.
Awesome.
All
yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Billy. We love you.
You're the best. Yeah.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Be good.
And I'll say this now that Billy's gone. One of the reasons I am in broadcasting, Jonny, like I know you kind of we've told the story about how you came to me.
He was my first call.
Yeah, Billy, I was still playing at the time when Billy and I became friends, and he was always just a guide in my corner. I mean, when I first got some broadcasting games, when I had no experience, when it was really bad, and I mean bad, like I'm not exaggerating, I'm not being self-deprecating, it was just bad. I turned to Billy for how do I get better at this? What do I need to do better? My first NCAA tournament, he was working in a different region. He watched the games I did. He gave me feedback immediately. He's always been somebody that has been completely in my corner. And, so Billy is one of the reasons that I have had any type of career in this business, right? And so, like I said, that goes back to being a 20-year-old playing and being a part of the Bruins organization. So he's not wrong when he says that he's had a hand or has been a part of this whole thing. He really has, for me, for sure.
I'll actually share too. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but the first time I met Billy, my friend Adam Hornick, it was his bar mitzvah. His dad, Eric Hornick, is a statistician for the Islanders. And Billy was at the bar mitzvah, and I walked right up to him. I was like, I'm a huge fan. Like, I hate the Islanders, but I'm a huge fan. Yeah, I was like a 7th grade kid going up to Billy Jaffe just at a bar mitzvah, like introducing myself. It was just such a funny thing to think about, going back now. That's, I guess, 17 years ago,
and their show's good. Him and Razor have a good show.
Yeah.
Morning Brew's a good show. I mean, that show has evolved. Whiskey and Wings, the Red Wings play today and tomorrow, so we won't be able to get Reamer. We really don't want to kind of bug him for that on game day. Plus they have morning skate and whatnot. So we'll get him on next week. He did text me over the weekend and said he wanted to try to get on earlier in the week, but I was obviously, with everything going on, I just told him I wanted him to wait because I wanted to be here when he came on. So I'm sorry for my selfishness. But that goal that he scored the other night,
sick.
That was so good, man. He is so fucking good around the net, Reamer. He really is. Like, that freaking guy has such a brain for where to be. Like, he really is. Like, you watch him in the offensive zone, he doesn't even need to skate. He doesn't even need to move his feet. And he just is one step ahead, right? I mean, it's tremendous to watch. And I told him, when you sign an extension, you better break that news on our show. That's part of your job now that you're a regular, contributor to the show, Johnny. So
that'd be sick.
We got Bet365 to hit.
Yeah, you know what? I saw in our chat, I think it was Jenna maybe who asked, but obviously Jenna is, a very loyal contributor to our chat. She asked if we were going to talk about the Linus Ullmark interview yesterday. I don't think it's something that we should totally glance over. Obviously the Senators have been a huge story, and for Linus Ullmark to come out and do that interview and listen, we talked about it when those rumors came out. We don't know what's true, what's not, but we do know, obviously that Linus Ullmark coming out and talking about his struggles with mental health, and to do that 25-minute interview with Claire Hanna on TSN, you don't see a lot of players do that. So I did want to acknowledge it. I did have a lot of respect for the fact that he did it. I don't know if you caught the full thing, Colby, but
I didn't. I know you sent me some stuff to watch, and listen,
I know you had your own stuff going on. So
it just reminds me of again, when people go on social media, it's like it's just, I brought this Ian Cole thing up. Someone just made a fake account, went on social media, started a vicious rumor about Ian. Again, I remember, I think they were saying he was grooming people and this and that. And yes, was there a situation that wasn't a great situation with what was going on for him? Sure. But where they took the rumor and the lie, that is what this sort of reminds me of. This took on a much bigger life, though, obviously, than what happened to Ian. But they took Ian out of a game. They really did. But Jenna in our chat, and, this is fair, she says she thought it was
totally
a PR
fair
stunt. She said, "I'm sorry if this sounds awful, but I did, and I think the Sens put him up to it." Listen, that's totally fair to think that. You get to have those opinions, and we've talked on this show about our distrust in NHL teams and the way that they like to shape messaging. You have to hope in this situation, Jenna, when you're talking about a player's mental health and you're talking about a player's personal life, you have to hope that it's
not a PR stunt
and it's not a PR stunt. I'm not saying it isn't, Jenna. I'm not saying that. I haven't seen the whole interview, so I don't really have an opinion formed. But I just have to hope that that's not what's happening on this situation. But I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm not saying you're wrong for thinking that. Obviously, that gave you a feeling for a reason. So again, Johnny, you're right. We had to at least have, we couldn't glance over it.
Yeah.
But I could just tell you this. I'm not ready to dive into a conversation and talk about it because I haven't seen the whole interview.
Yeah. Even after seeing it, it's not something that I never feel comfortable talking about players' personal lives. That's just my own preference. I know fans, some fans are very interested in personal lives. I like when a player shows personality, but when someone is going through personal hardships, I don't find joy in talking about that. So, I think that's how, I'm not telling people how to behave, but I feel like that's how most people should be. If a player is going through something, you let them go through it. If a player is showcasing something positive and they want something to be out there, you celebrate it. That's just kind of how I am. I understand fans are different. I am a fan too. Maybe I don't know. I'm kind of losing my own train of thought here, but obviously, respect to Linus Ullmark stepping out and talking about it, and hopefully the situation can resolve itself and Linus Ullmark can be back on the ice feeling pretty good about himself in the next few weeks here. But that's all I really got to say about it. Any other topics?
The last comment I want to make, just because I did watch a lot of that Montreal-Minnesota game. Wow. The puck movement and the speed of that game was unbelievable. That was a fun hockey game to watch, and I haven't seen a lot of hockey the last couple of days, but that was a great hockey game to watch. I cannot believe right now people are still actually arguing online the difference between Ivan Demidov and Matvei Michkov. I can't even believe people are arguing. I see that argument happening between Canadians fans and Flyers fans pretty consistently. It's actually Flyers fans are dominating my timeline on my For You page right now. and I see them bickering with Montreal fans, and I can't believe this year they're having that conversation. Maybe next year it'll be a new and fair conversation to have, but this year it's not even you're not even talking about the same caliber at all. Not even close this year. It could change next year, but that was a really, really fun game to watch. Just the skill on the back end between Hughes and Hudson and Dobson. I mean, it's just those are games you watch during an 82 regular season, and you're like, whoa, like that's a big boy hockey game. That's big boy speed. That's big boy puck movement. So that game really stood out to me last night, Johnny. And I even did catch part of the late TNT game, and I had a little bit of time with the Rangers game last night as well.
Oh, you had time with the Rangers game. You certainly sent me a text right in the first period. You remember
what did
that?
I say? What did I say?
Morrow you.
Oh, well, I mean, I saw that goal and I thought you'd be really excited. I mean, Offman and Morrow were both a part of the same goal for the New York Rangers. I mean, that's I
don't know why. Should I just say it out loud or no?
No, don't say it out loud, because I was being pretty vulgar with what I said to you. And I don't, that's a shared conversation. But I did think you'd be really excited by that play. Yeah. I mean, those are two
Scott
guys.
Morrow's first goal with the Rangers. Yeah, I was excited.
But they took it away from him and gave it to Will Cooley. They took that goal from him. I looked this morning.
They did?
Yeah,
Really?
they gave that goal to Will Cooley.
No way.
It must have hit him in front. So
I did. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I know. But still, like, it was something I knew you'd be really excited about. So all right, Johnny, listen, give us your Bet365, and then we'll say goodbye to our audience today. Great being back. Make sure you hit the like button for us. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get your audio downloads going. Whiskey and Wings, the answer to that question would be no. He's asking if Philly would consider moving Michkov. They wouldn't consider doing it for Quinn Hughes. They're not moving him for anybody. They may say no if Wayne Gretzky's 25 years old again and he wants to come to Philadelphia. I don't know if they'd move him for that, to be honest. So make sure you hit all those buttons for us, subscribe, and then Johnny's going to give us our Bet365. He's going to pick a winner for everyone, so everyone's going to get rich tonight. And then we're going to say goodbye to you, and then Johnny's going to get on a plane to
Edmonton. Woo!
And then drive to Jasper. Edmonton's a great
It's just
spot.
so cold. I'm in 70-degree weather in California right now.
I made the mistake of dissing Edmonton as a 21-year-old, and I didn't even mean to diss Edmonton. I was just excited to be going back to Boston when I got traded. But don't diss Edmonton. That's fucked up. We have a lot of good people in Edmonton.
It's so nice out in California. I was laying by a pool yesterday, and it's just California is the best. But tonight's Bet365, bet of the night, whatever your bet is. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. You must be 19 or older. Tonight, we're actually going to take the New York Islanders playing their last game of a lengthy road trip on the money line, -115. They're playing in Seattle. The Kraken have lost 6 of their last 7 games. They've lost 4 in a row. The Islanders didn't play their best game in Vancouver the other night and still found a way to squeak one out. The Islanders are a good team. They find different ways to win. They find contributions from different guys. And I have more faith in them than the Seattle Kraken, and getting them at -115 is pretty good value. So that's the bet of the night. That's going to do it for my opinions for today's show. We do have Mike Kelly on the show tomorrow. And who is and Irf. And Irf will be joining too to talk about Vancouver. Yes, Vancouver's a mess right now. So another double guest show tomorrow to wrap up the week. And Colby, I'll kick it over to you to put your final thoughts on today's show.
That's all we got. Good to be back. I did miss you all. I appreciate all the love and support from you guys. If I'm missing, unfortunately, you guys know why. Hopefully it's not going to happen here anytime soon, and we're on a good path. We love you too, Dean Youngblood, 2381. We hope everybody has a great rest of your day, and we'll see everybody for our last show of the week tomorrow and Thursday. Johnny will be in Edmonton with the gang. I'll be right here, hopefully sitting in my office, and we'll see you then.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to Morning Cuppa Hockey here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. And don't forget, We've got more great hockey content every day. You can catch DFO live at noon and stick around for the sheet with Jeff Marek at 1 p.m. right here on Daily Faceoff. Until then, keep your coffee hot and your takes hotter.